Hi, it's professional wildlife photographer Andy Rouse here. I've been out and about with my new A1 Mark II trying out all those features that are important to me in my professional wildlife photography. Check out this video for my initial thoughts. All right, now I just got the A1 Mark II literally a week before Christmas. You can see here we're in the middle of it. I haven't managed to get out as much as I would like, but I have tested the Pro Capture, the Speed Boost, the brand new AF, and also importantly for me, the new AF grids. So here are my views on them all. I will do setup videos and further thoughts as we go through next month, but this is just to get you going and to give you something to watch between Christmas and New Year. Now, the first thing I tested was the pre-capture function because I love these kind of functions on the camera. As you know, I used the OM system for the past 5 years, and I've used Pro Capture there, and I'm considered a bit of an expert at it. It's not just about putting the button and choosing, turning it on. You've got to have lots of things set up in the background to make it the most efficient and the most accurate. I will cover those in a setup video for you when I've used it a few more times in anger. But as you can see here on the screen, I did really, really well with it just in an hour using it. I had pretty bad light at the start and then it developed into some nicer sunlight. Do you know the thing about the bad light though is ISO 30,000 I shot at. Once I took out a little bit of the noise, it was really commercially viable. I couldn't believe it. And of course, because I've got all of the pixels of the A1 Mark II, I can crop in nicely and still get a really, really big image. I found it very easy to use. It's very different from the OM one, and that's fine. It's more like a pre-capture video mode. So it will capture your up to 1 second beforehand. So if I set the camera to 20 frames a second, I will get 20 frames. This is what I need for the wing beats. But then it will give you a little bit after as well because you're obviously pressing the motor drive to enable it. There's a nice little indicator in the viewfinder. And also what I like is when you play back the images, it's got a little indicator on each image to show you which one was taken with Pro Capture. And that's how I added it up to make sure I got my 20 shots. So it's very, very simple and easy to use. I got great results with it already. Very surprised at the high ISO as well. That's not different, of course, from the A1. That's exactly the same. But I can't wait to use it in the future. I've got it on a quick button. I've reprogrammed the whole camera with quick buttons. I've got it on my custom functions at the top here to switch it on and off. With the new subject detect as well, it worked really, really well. Can't wait to try it again. And as always, I'll update you more with a setup video when I shot with it a little bit more during January. Now, a biggie for me, didn't seem that many of the reviewers picked up on it, was the ability to define your own grids. Now, Sony give us lots of AF grids, little point, big square, all this kind of stuff, and there's a lot more of them on the Mark II. There's a lot of options for both the tracking and non-tracking mode, all different sizes, including a superb extra small one. The first thing I do is go into the options and turn them virtually all off. I only need 3 or 4 of them. I need a big square and a tiny square for going through foliage. That's all I need. But the great thing was I could define my own grid, and I was a little bit worried that they would not allow us to do that in a free-form way. Absolutely they have. So I've got my cheetah grid, which goes all the way across like this, a few pixels up and all the way across. It's really useful for doing these birds in flight on the Pro Capture that you saw because it narrows the focus to that one plane, horizontal plane. It's useful as well. When I learned it when I was photographing elephants with lots of grass in the way, a lot of autofocus might go onto the grass. So if you move the autofocus grid high up in the frame, then it will go onto a subject that's high up in the frame. Very important when you shoot low angle like I do, where you're looking up a lot. So I look like I'm doing some kind of chant there. Look. So really, really great ability to customize and add your own AF grids. And you can add them to the button as well. And I've got them over here, right on the side there. I use it on there so I can very, very quickly scroll through the grids as I need them. You know, having the camera set up so it works quickly is a really vital thing. Again, more videos coming on that later. Welcome to the Slimbridge Wildfowl and Wetland Trust. I come here a lot with geese flying overhead when I want to test new kit. So we've got the Sony A1 Mark II here, and I'm going to test all the bird autofocus, okay? Because it's improved autofocus, they say. The A1 was brilliant when I used it, so it'll be interesting to see how it works. I'm going to obviously test the bird detect mode, the animal and birds, and the auto. I can't talk to you in the hide because people are in there shooting, it's all quiet. So what I'll probably do is maybe do a couple of cutaways and then I'll come out and tell you how it goes, and we'll talk more in the studio with some pictures. All right, so let's get going. All right, here we are in the hide, so we've got to go in and see what it's like. so there's no one in the hide, so I can talk to you. I've been shooting with it for 10 minutes, okay? I've got the tracking on about half. I've got bird detect on, and it's been astounding. Every eye it's locked onto, even the real fast pintails that are flying across and the tufties, it's locked onto. I haven't taken any award winners yet, but it's locked onto everything, which has been amazing. Now I am going to test what happens if I change to bird and animal, or also if I change to auto as well. So I'm going to test that. I'm also going to test speed boost. Very useful. I've got it onto the AF on button on the back here, and it means that I can set the drive in low speed, 5 a second. Now swans and that flying across, that's all I really need. Some geese taking off now. That's all I really need. But when they turn and come into land, I can press the AF on button, get speed boost, and go up to 20 frames a second, which would be absolutely amazing. Anyway, we're going to carry on with the shooting because it's going to get better and better and better. But so far, I have to say, the AF has been insane. Okay, so you would have seen me shooting there with my 200 to 600. Absolutely love this lens. I can't believe the price of it. It's an incredible quality lens for that price. It's absolutely amazing. I did really well with the AF. I mean, I was almost at one stage going to do a man's start. I was going to put the camera down on the shelf, stand 5 feet back and run to it and then shoot as they were coming across. It became that easy, yeah? It was amazing the way that it could lock on to anything that I wanted. I had my AF grid, a cheetah grid or a big square grid. There's no point in having anything smaller. Had tracking mode set, decent obviously ISO to keep the shutter speed up, and I could track it all the way in and it would maintain the focus all the way in. Now, one of the reasons I haven't got many landing shots is that they were in the dark because the sun was hidden by the hide. And I don't shoot pictures that are not commercially viable. So I didn't shoot them coming into land, or I tracked them in, but I haven't processed them. But they look good. Just trust me, it tracked it all the way in. Now, one thing I found out about this AI subject detect is for every mode, like bird and animal and stuff like that, you can tune what you want it to look for, eye, head, whatever. You can tune it, which is good. So some of you might want to tune it to your certain mode of photography that you do. But I have to say that the autofocus of the flying birds was astounding. And when the sun wasn't out, it was still astounding. And you say, yeah, okay, it's easier against the sky. Well, swans have a strange shaped neck with an eye on the end, okay? I have used a lot of systems where they haven't picked it up very well at all. But it picked it up very well. But then when it came down against the cluttered background with lots of ducks and geese doing their thing in the background and buildings and grass and all kinds of stuff, it tracked it very well and it held the focus. Now, I had the tracking set to +5, I think, which is the most sensitive. I had that for Pro Capture as well. I'm going to retest it. Normally, I have it set really, really low, but I wanted it just to see how responsive it could be. So I was very, very impressed there with the AF. And by the way, I tested the AF on a mammal. There you go. It's an awful picture of a squirrel. It was while I was doing the pre-capture, so I was able to quickly turn the pre-capture off because it's on a quick button, get that on the mammal, and because I had it on animal and birds combined mode, not animal or birds, it detected the squirrel, it got the eye, and it held the eye while it was doing its. So I know it's not a great picture, okay? I know I will get better for you, I promise. Now, whilst I was at Slimbridge, I also tested the speed boost. That was great, but it takes a lot of getting used to, okay? So I'd set my drive to L or M, so 5 or 10 frames a second, because when birds are flying across, you don't need to be blasting at 20 or 30 frames a second. You only do that if you want other people in the hide to hear you and show off, which unfortunately some people do. My camera's on silent, so I don't want anyone to hear what I'm doing. And it's on silent because of the effect on the wildlife. So I have it on a low setting. As soon as something happens, like the bird comes around, I know it's going to come into land. I want to get those wings out or it's skating on the water. So I've got the shutter button pressed halfway. I've got the speed boost button set to AF on because then I can easily shoot it. So I can just dab the AF on button, speed boost will come on and it will go zzz, 20 frames a second. Or 30 if you've got raw compressed set. I don't use compressed, I use uncompressed for size. Or you've got a bigger card, a CF Express A in there, okay? But it does work really, really well, the speed boost, and it is really useful for a pro when you see the action, because you don't want to burn through your cards for stuff that doesn't need you to burn through your cards. You want to be able to burn your card and take loads of pictures when you absolutely need it at that vital moment. So I think it's a really, really good thing. The one thing I will say, it's going to get it's going to take some getting used to for me, because I've not only got to hold the shutter button, I've got to press the AF on when I want to go. So I've got to do two things at once. It's like, you know, flying a helicopter, you know, you probably don't fly a helicopter like that, but you have the collective and you have the stick and you have to do two things at once. You know the old adages. Well, it's exactly the same for doing the speed boost, but it's just a question of getting used to it. It's the first time I used it. It's a brilliant feature, and again, it's on the back of the camera on one of the custom function buttons. Okay, that is a very quick overview. I wanted to give you something to look at to get an idea. I think so far everything I've tested has been absolutely brilliant. That's all the stuff that I need. It did seem more stable as well. It should do, because it's got a bigger IBIS, I think 8 stops and a bit. So it did seem a lot more stable with this lens. I will do more in-depth videos for you. And yes, I understand that nothing I've taken today is award-winning. It was a really bad flight day at Slimbridge. We didn't get, it's a beautiful conditions, and we just didn't get a lot coming in, or it wasn't doing. A lot depends on the wind and the wind direction. It wasn't doing much. I will get better pictures to show you and show you what this stuff is all about. But right now, I'm really, really pleased with the A1 Mark II, and I can't wait to use it in anger in Africa next month, because I'll be there for 3 weeks and I'm going to be doing an awful lot with it. But first, I'm actually going to do squirrels, so you might get some red squirrel stuff first. Now, as always, please subscribe to the channel. Okay, we tell you automatically then when we have these kind of videos. There's a mixture of videos that are going to suit all kinds of photographers, not just Sony photographers, everyone. I teach via my images, okay? So that's what I like to do. As well, you can support me on Patreon as well. You can see the link on one of these sides here, whichever one I put it on when I edit. Patreon is our exclusive content site where we do podcasts, workflow walkthroughs. I do a lot more talk about images and composition and technique and stuff on there. It's all for £5 a month, so it's not much to put towards your photography when you think how much you spend on kit. So have a look at Patreon as well, subscribe to the channel, and be nice to each other and enjoy yourselves, and I'll be back soon. Nice comments below, please. See you, bye.